Now let us explore another tool, flowcharts. What is a flowchart? A flowchart is a visual tool that helps us in depicting a picture of any process. It helps in drawing both activities and the relationships in a process. Therefore, it does not only help us in understanding the current process, but also helps us in understanding how to improve the current process by detecting any deviation from normal. So, flowcharts should be considered seriously as one of the most important tools that should be used whenever you would like to understand a process. Well, but what does a process mean? A process refers to a sequence of activities that lead to a specific product or service that in the form of an output. The interconnection between infrastructure and processes forms our systems. That is why it is very important to have enough tools to understand processes, because the majority of the problems that we face in our work every day are a result of defects or deviation of a specific process or a group of processes. Understanding processes forms a basis for solving our daily problems. Okay, so when should we use flowcharts? We use flowcharts to visualize the current process, to identify gaps, bottlenecks in a process, or to improve the current process. A flowchart of a process represents a roadmap drawing of the current situation as it is. However, we could use this to improve the current process by identifying opportunities for improvement through identifying weak points in the current roadmap. For example, let us say that you are receiving frequent complaints about the flow in the outpatient department. You can never start to improve the current situation without having a snapshot of the current flow. Flowcharts could help you in having a snapshot of what is happening right now. Based on this, you can easily identify what the weak points in the current flow are. Flowcharts are a universal language. You could learn its basics in one day. However, to master it, you need some practice. It is easily understood by its users all over the world because it depends upon using a standard set of symbols. Now let us learn the common symbols used in flowcharting. Please do not forget to go through the attached exercise Excel sheet to help you identify the common symbols used in flowcharts. Let us start. That first shape is used to identify a start or an end of a process. It is oval in shape. Process activity. A process activity shape refers to a step in the process itself. It is rectangular in shape. Predefined process shape. It is rectangular in shape with two perpendicular lines on the sides. We use it to refer to another process that is a part of the current process, but not detailed inside the current process flowchart. Decision point shape refers to a crossroad. A point at which the process might go into different directions, based on the current decision. The current decision may be yes or no or any other form of decision. Each answer will have a different impact on the flow of the process. Data shape refers to a step that involves either collecting or providing data like in during registration, during collecting data from patients. Document shape. This shape refers to items for reading, writing, and instructions and so on. For example, printed instructions, invoices, guidelines, and the like. Delay shape. This shape refers to waiting time or lagging in a process like a patient waiting to be seen by a doctor or a doctor waiting to receive lab results. Preparation shape. This shape refers to preparatory steps like setup preparation for a procedure. Either this is clinical or non-clinical, like, for example, preparation of a patient's file or preparation for surgery. Manual input shape. This is used to describe steps involving entering data manually. Now, as we have reviewed the most common shapes and symbols used in drawing flowcharts, let's see how to draw a flowchart of a process before going ahead and trying to draw a flowchart of our process. We should first try to identify our process. As said before, any system is composed of theoretically indefinite number of processes that are interacting together. This makes it difficult sometimes to separate processes from each other. To draw a flowchart of any specific process, we should have at least 3 clear items: start, end, and the scope of a process. What does this mean? This means that we should have a clear start of a process. Where do we start? And a clear end of the same process. For example, if we are drawing a chart of a process of the patient flow in the outpatient department, we need to have a start step. Where should we start? Do we like to start it from booking an appointment? Do we like to start it from the patient entering the hospital, or do we need to start it from registration? Whatever it is, the team should be definite about the start step. The same applies to the end step. Where do we like the process to end? Will it end at calling the patient to a specific clinic, or do we need to end it at the patient exiting the whole hospital after specifying the start and end of the process? We should also identify the scope of the process, the boundaries of the process that we are interested in, otherwise we may be distracted inside all departments of the organization. The second most important factor in drawing an effective flowchart is to involve concerned stakeholders. This means that no one is an expert of the whole process. Therefore, if you would like to have an appropriate flowchart of any process, you should make sure that all concerned parties, or, at least, representatives of them, are involved. This makes you assure that every detail is included in the flowchart of the process. The third and last important factor in drawing a flowchart of a process is to use brainstorming by the involved parties to generate the steps in the different relationships of activities inside a process. To summarize, flowchart is not mostly depending on art. On the contrary, it depends on facts driven by involved process enforcers. Flowcharts could be done through different kinds of applications like Excel, Word, or PowerPoint. Or you might use a specialized software for flowcharting. Apart from the application you use for drawing, what is important is the accuracy of the input data. Please check the attached exercise files to have an idea about different software that you can use for drawing flowcharts. So now let us go through an example to see how to implement what has been said. Mr. Peter, the outpatient department manager in Serpanio's General Hospital, is not satisfied with the patient flow in the department. He thinks that the process is a bit complicated and hopes to improve it. After discussing this with Miss Germain, the head of quality, she advised him to start with a flowchart of the current process to visualize what's happening. A team was formed, including Mr. Perrin himself, the OPD manager, Miss German, the quality coordinator, Miss Heidi, a receptionist, Ms. Rana, a nurse, and Dr. Ronald, a doctor, a physician. The team started by agreeing on the process itself. They have agreed to start with registration of a patient at the reception desk and to end the process by the patient being called to a clinic. The boundaries of the process were limited inside the OPD department. After defining the start, end, and the boundaries of the process, the team has started to brainstorm different steps involved in the flow of patients from the start to the end of the process. As you can see, here are the different steps defined by the team of the activities involved in the process. Let's see how the team went further into drawing the flowchart. As you can see, they have started with a terminator shape as the patient is called for registration. This is the first step. After this, the team used the rectangular shape for an activity. Any process activity could be represented by this shape. After this, the team was confronted with a decision point. At this point, the receptionist checks if the patient is insured or not. Here there is a diversion of the flow. If the patient is not insured, the receptionist shows a price list to the patient and gives him or her some information about it. However, if the answer is yes, the patient is insured, the receptionist will go ahead and charge the co-payment and the process will continue in a different direction at this point. Now, the current process is clearly visualized by the team. Could this add anything to the team? It adds a lot because now, as the process is clearly visualized by the team, going through the process itself will make it easier for the team to identify any unnecessary steps, any gaps, any bottlenecks, any chaotic relationships between the different steps, or any weak points. For example, unnecessary steps, or in other words, steps that add no value either to the patient nor to the organization, might be removed to save time, money, and effort. In other words, removing waste or non-added values will definitely improve efficiency of the process. Also, aside from removing the waste or increasing the efficiency of the process, by studying the flowchart of the current process, it could be taken as a basis for redrawing an improved flowchart of the process.